Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Season Gaming Bitcast. This is episode 28, and today we've got a lot to talk about and a lot to cover. So I am joined by Dan and Bert. As usual, Bert's actually coming to us from Stockholm today. So if you think he looks a little different, it's not just you. Quickly, I want to mention that it seems like we've been away for a while, and we actually recorded our standard episode about 2 weeks ago, but we had a lot of technical issues. It didn't come out as we wanted, and then Dan and Bert decided to fly all over the world. So we have not been around for a few weeks. So apologies to our recurring listeners, but we are back. And like I said, we got a really good show today. So let's kick it off with the biggest thing that I've been waiting for all year, and that is Red Dead Redemption 2 gameplay. Rockstar finally unveiled it this week. We got 6 full minutes, including an overview of the world, how the camps are going to work, some of the combat, the animations, how you'll take care of your horse, and a lot of details on that. They didn't get into the game modes or multiplayer or anything yet. That's apparently going to be coming in a second reveal here in the near future. But pretty much blew the world away. It's gotten a lot of focus this week, a lot of discussion. I thought it was absolutely incredible, and I'm sure we can talk for a few minutes about it. So, Bert, you want to start us off on your thoughts?
Yeah, so it looked amazing. I actually at first was not going to watch it. I told myself I'm going to stay away from it because I wanted to go in blind. But as I heard more about it, it's more of like a tutorial of how the game works. There's not really too much story being mentioned. It talks briefly about all the different modes, how you play, how you will affect the world and stuff like that. Looks amazing. I can't wait to play it. That's all I can really say about it.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be awesome. Love the first one. This one is just, it looks crazy good. And also horse testicles. I mean, talk about putting your details in the game. Bravo. Bravo, Rockstar. Thank you.
Leave it to Rockstar. They don't miss a beat.
No.
So,
Bravo.
No, there was one scene that really jumped out to me when they did show the actual gameplay. Well, two things. First, the lighting and the environments look absolutely stunning, and they confirm that it's all real-time gameplay captured on a PS4 Pro. So, which is kind of crazy, right? Because it means the Xbox One X one will look even better somehow. But there was the lighting, and then there was also the moment when he's walking up to a house and he's shooting a few people, and he shoots with a pistol and then immediately pulls out the shotgun and like shoots 2 other people, and it just how fluid it was just looked absolutely incredible to me. It reminded me of Last of Us 2 from E3, just how fluid the mechanics looked.
Yeah, they also showed I guess, was it called Bullet Time or something?
Yeah. Deadeye, not Deadeye.
Yeah, it's something like that. I know what you're talking about.
Deadeye.
It might be Deadeye. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is a nice evolution of a mode that I enjoyed quite a bit, and it looks awesome. I mean, he went in the slow-mo, and then he marked all of them, and then they unloaded all of them. It was pretty awesome. So it looks really great.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those games I say every year that I'll be taking vacation time to play. So I'll lock myself in the basement, tell everyone I'm not here, and that's all I'll do for a week. So
all the time.
So we also got footage from another one of my most anticipated titles, and that's Doom Eternal from QuakeCon. So QuakeCon was the past couple days, and we got the keynote speech from Bethesda's VP. I always forget his name. Is it Hines? And he brought out the Doom Eternal development team, and they walked through a long gameplay demo of that as well. So 7 minutes of gameplay. It looks just as crazy as the reboot from 2016, which was actually our game of the year that year. And it looks even more intense. So now you have kind of this grappling hook. Looks to be a lot of more verticality in the levels, the way you can kind of maneuver around some new weapons. And it just looks, again, incredible. I mean, seeing between Red Dead Redemption 2 and Doom Eternal, and then they also showed Rage 2. I'm just Smash Brothers this week, which we'll get to. It's just a crazy time for games right now.
Man, I'm going to be broke as hell. I just I paid for Divinity Original Sin. I got Madden. I got We Happy Few, and then all this other stuff just keeps popping up. It's going to be insane. Doom, I know we kind of joked about it a little bit, but it looks good. I mean, it looked really, really good. I didn't see any of the Rage 2 stuff, but I did watch the Doom stuff, and yeah, I'm excited for it. It's the remastered version, or the new one that just came out on the Xbox and the PS4.
The reboot, yep.
The reboot. Okay, yeah. That was just fun. This is a fun game, and you don't get, a lot of games are fun, but it's just mindless killing. And if it's more of that, then for sure I'm down.
Sorry, did you say you got Madden? Is that what happened?
Madden 19. Yeah. Just
Okay,
bought that one.
Didn't know if I heard something in my headset that was weird, but
I got really, really mad.
Eternal looks good. We didn't see anything at E3, so I mean, they had that statue contest, but no gameplay, so we were kind of trying to see where it was going to go. Looks awesome. They did mention that multiplayer was going to be in it, but that wasn't really in the trailer, so I'm hoping that it's better this time than it was last time. And it looks as crazy as it could be. It looks like a next evolution to the game, and it's cool that the consoles are going to be pushing a stronger version than the first one did. So I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned stronger version because we eventually got the Xbox One X and PS4 Pro upgrades, right? But developing from the start for those systems now, which will be very nice. It's going to be interesting again. So they announced that it's going to launch day and date on the Switch as well, and it's just. You see that gameplay and you know how many corners they had to cut to get the game on the Switch originally, like Wolfenstein and the current Doom. It's going to be interesting to see how they pull that one off. But regardless, still cool that it's coming to the Switch on the same day as well. So speaking of the Switch, we also had a Nintendo Direct this week that was entirely focused on Smash Brothers. So obviously the Switch's biggest title of the year coming in December. And I know Nintendo fans are just rabid for this game right now. We've got some footage captured from E3 when Bert and I played it that has done very well on our YouTube channel. A lot of people, watching it and commenting. And I'm not the biggest Smash Brothers guy. Bert certainly can speak to it a lot better than me. But I know there was a lot of excitement after this Direct, a lot of more detail on what's going into the game. And they also announced a couple new playable characters like Simon Belmont and King Cruel, is it? King K. Rool. And potentially more. So anything kind of notable you want to touch on there?
Well, Dan, I'm not sure how big of a Smash Brothers fan you are, but I'm somewhat of a big Smash Brothers fan. It's really fun to play when you have people over. I don't really care for it single player, so I never really play it. It looks really cool. With the same stuff we saw at E3, the biggest announcements were mainly the new characters and the trailer, which got a lot of social media, I guess, joking about Luigi dying was pretty funny because there was like rest in peace, Luigi. If you were a younger brother, this is pretty much your hero growing up, stuff like that. Your older brother usually gets Mario, but it looks pretty much like the same. I'm kind of excited for it, but it is a port coming from the Wii U, and it's just the big thing about this one is the stages and the characters have just advanced way past the Wii U version. So if you're excited for it, for me, the biggest excitement for it was actually before the Nintendo Direct, and it's the kind of the limited edition that they have coming out with the GameCube controller and the what do you call that? The attachment that allows you to put GameCube controllers onto the Switch. So that's more exciting to me than the new announcement of the characters.
Actually, it has they're small cases, right? But it has a steel book as well for a Switch case, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, it'll be a first, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I played. Like you said, Bert. It's more of the local multiplayer. Playing that I never played it by myself. It was always either with my friends or with my kids. I'll pick it up, and we'll play probably a crap ton of it here at the house because we love doing those kind of games. I didn't watch the Direct, so mostly because I'm not a Nintendo diehard. But the Switch is what it is. So, I don't know. So, I mean, it's you get a lot of ports. I just want some new games, new games. I want to see what they can do. So, but yeah, I mean, it's going to sell like crazy for sure.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. So speaking of, you guys are setting me up for these transitions today. So speaking of selling like crazy, Sony announced this week that they have surpassed 500 million total PlayStations sold since 1994. In fact, something like 523 million when you include the PSP and the Vita. Long live the Vita. With the PS4 now reaching something like 81 million or 82 million. So it's creeping up or about to surpass where the PS3 sold in its lifetime. So it just goes to show you how well the PS4 is selling. But to commemorate this, they are launching a special edition PS4 bundle with a translucent blue PS4 Pro that has a numbered faceplate on it, and it comes with a 2 terabyte hard drive, the PlayStation camera. It's kind of all in this $500 bundle. It's going to be extremely limited. They're only making 50,000 of them in the world. And I spoke to GameStop yesterday, and he told me that obviously many people are asking about it. It's going to be an online sale only on August 24th when it releases. So it's going to be one of those things where you better be on that browser in the first 30 seconds, or you're never going to get one, or you're going to pay a ton of money aftermarket for it. So pretty interesting. I actually really like the look of it. I probably will try to get one. If I don't, it's not a huge deal, but I would like to have one.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best looking one that I've seen so far. Close to the Monster Hunter World one, which I really enjoyed. But 500 million PlayStations. I'm responsible for probably 3 or 4 of those for sure. But I loved it. I mean, I saw it and I was just like, man, this is. It wasn't even that in detailed or anything like that. It just looks really good. It just shows that if they really wanted to, they can put out some pretty cool looking custom consoles. But I do give Sony credit. At least they're trying at this point. I mean, I haven't really seen since the Minecraft one. Aside from like the ones you can win in contests, where Xbox is even attempting to throw out some cool limited edition consoles. Because I would buy them. I would definitely buy them. But yeah, but for $500, I'm gonna probably pass on it only because I could trade in my Pro now, but it works fine. I don't see a problem with it, and I don't really need a camera with it.
Yeah, so, it's more of a commemorative bundle than anything else.
Yeah, but for the diehard PlayStation fans, I mean, for sure. I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
but it looks nice.
Yeah, for me, there's 2 other consoles that I really like in the Sony PlayStation 4 life so far, and it is the one that is going to be, or has been, even more limited than this one. It's the one that was styled after the original PS1.
Oh yeah,
I love that thing, but that thing goes for thousands of dollars online, and never going to have that one. But I had the God of War one, but I sold it and I was never able to find it again. So some remorse there. So I'm going to try to get this one. The unfortunate thing is I already have a camera for it, and the controller is cool, so that's going to be nice. And then I'm still on the fence about the Spider-Man one. I have it pre-ordered, but I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it. So I don't really. I'm going to have all these PlayStation 4s in boxes, and I keep thinking I'm going to find them down the road. But it seems like these are becoming more and more limited, so kind of have to buy it now in order to get your hands on one. If not, you're going to be in the $1,000 range to get one. So it's kind of do or die.
Yeah, it's always kind of a toss-up. Sorry, Dan, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if you can at least make some money off it. Just hold on to it for about 6 months, double your money, you'd be good to go.
It's always a weird toss-up because I was actually searching for this 500 million one before I knew it was online only on the day, and I saw that Best Buy still is taking pre-orders for the Spider-Man one, which Amazon is sold out, but Best Buy still has them. So it's like they never mention with the consoles how many they're making, right? Except for this one. So I don't know if they learned from the God of War thing that, with the anticipation for Spider-Man, if they're just going to make, hundreds of thousands of those and it won't be limited. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it does look really cool, though. The translucent blue is the first time they actually do something with their plastic, and the other times they just kind of skin it. This time it's actual plastic being changed, so that's really cool.
Yeah, I thought so as well. And then speaking of God of War, here we go again. New Game Plus arriving next week, actually, or 9 days from now, August 20th of this recording. Sony Santa Monica mentioned that it's a New Game Plus. It's not just playing the game again. It's actually going to have new armors and equipment you can get. There is a new crafting material. Some of the enemies that you face are going to have new moves and abilities as well. So for you God of War fans that really, really enjoyed that game, I know all 3 of us did. We had talked about that extensively. It's going to be a new experience, which is pretty cool. And I think it's nice that they're adding this for the hardcore fans. All right. So final piece of news to wrap us up on the news front is the Fix PUBG campaign. So the PUBG Core came out and announced, kind of making fun of themselves almost, that for several months now they've heard Fix PUBG. And so they came out with what's essentially like Operation Health was for Siege. It's a kind of a timeline and project plan for you to improve the game and kind of resolve all of the outstanding issues with it and bring it up to the standard that obviously the fans and players like us want. So this is primarily focused on the PC with the timeline that they laid out, but they did say that these are going to translate to the Xbox version as well. And as we know, we've been seeing the Xbox version get updated regularly. So I'm really happy about this. We still play the hell out of PUBG. I'm going to be playing it, who knows how long, but I'm really excited about all the other additions that are coming, like the Sandhawk to the Xbox version, eventually the fourth winter map, and, just continuing to polish it. So this was pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, keep fixing it. We love it. If the better it gets, the more fun it gets. As long as they don't change way too many things, I'm happy with it. So bring it on.
Very good. Yep. All right, so let's talk about a couple of industry updates real quick. This was some big news this week, and again, we're kind of touching on God of War here, but the Initiative, which is the new studio under Microsoft for the Xbox, based in Santa Monica. This is that studio that was said to be Quad A, so I guess the biggest budget you can imagine for their games. They've been hiring up industry talent like crazy. Over the past couple of weeks, they have hired from a ton of AAA studios around the industry. And just this week, oh my gosh, and I didn't put the name here. I think his name's Brian Westergaard, if I remember off the top of my head, but he was one of the producers on God of War for Sony Santa Monica. And he's now going to be working for Daryl Gallagher's studio under the Initiative on Xbox titles. So there's some other really big name talent. I didn't write them down here, darn it, but that they've acquired over the past several weeks. So it certainly seems like, if you're looking at it from a business perspective, that Microsoft is really following through on what they said, that they're going to invest in just getting the best talent, and the future is going to be bright. So real interesting on this one.
Yeah, just to give you a heads up, it is Brian Westergaard.
Okay.
But there's a lot of people that are moving from other talented games that are moving over to the studio. So going to be super excited to see what the final product of this game is, whatever it is that they're working on. So big deal for, I guess, exclusivity for their Microsoft consoles. And we're more than likely going to see this title in the next generation, maybe even potentially a launch title, or maybe first generation title coming out.
Yeah, just give me some games, man.
Yeah, you just want to see the end product, right?
Yeah, I want to see what they can do. If they're going to put all this money into it, no excuses.
True.
If you're going to sit there and call it quadruple A, whatever the hell that means, that's fine. Just show me the money. That's what I want to see.
Show me the money.
I think that's where everyone is right now. We've been talking since last year about them kind of starting to ramp up, and then we got the E3, the studios, and the investments. At this point, it's just, let's see it. So it'll take a while, obviously, till we get there, but it should be good, we hope. And then kind of spread like wildfire across industry channels this week is that the gentleman at IGN, I struggle calling him a gentleman, actually. Philip, is it Muchin?
I think it's Muchin. Either that or Muchin. I can't remember.
Yeah, one of them. So he put up his Dead Cells review for IGN earlier in the week, and then a small YouTuber under Boomstick Gaming mentioned and kind of brought it on Reddit and some other social channels that, hey, this guy plagiarized my video review. And so IGN took it down, and if you watch them back to back and kind of look at it, it's pretty obvious. And IGN has since fired Philip. He released his own statement, which is not very popular right now. He's getting thousands and tens of thousands of downvotes because he really didn't take any responsibility. He still hasn't admitted that he plagiarized. And then since then, Jason Schreier over at Kotaku and some other sites, they've been kind of looking through his past, and they have found at least 2 other clear examples where he plagiarized other people's reviews from other channels, nearly to the word in some cases. So I think this is, it goes without saying, right? We're a small channel. We do writing, we do videos, and if this happened to me, I'd be kind of furious. So this guy is really the lowest of the low, in my opinion, and I hope he can't get a job in this industry anymore. We don't need people like that.
Yeah, I think finding another job is going to be really, really hard for him, because I don't think anybody's going to want that stigma on their team at all. But I did watch the comparison that Boomstick Gaming did, and it was kind of crazy how similar it was to the word and to the sentence and to the point that was being made in the IGN review. Yeah. So I'm glad IGN did their own check to make sure that it was like that. Funny thing for Boomstick Gaming, I think they went from 4,000 followers on YouTube to like 75,000 followers over, I think, like a 48-hour period. So good for them, but let's hope they continue to get some good content to keep coming out.
Yeah, I think this is a bunch of crap. I mean, this here. Number one, first, I don't care who you are. If you spell your name Philip with an F-I-L, okay, that pisses me off no end. Just I don't know why. Spell it like everybody else spells the damn thing, Philip. All right. Second of all, everybody's giving IGN a lot of hell for this shit, but really, it was just this one dude. So they have IGN. I don't like IGN anyway, but it's really not them. And Jason Schreier, I can't stand that dude. But, I mean, while I don't agree with what he did, and he's kind of a piece of garbage for it. Don't kick a guy when he's down. But the guy needs to apologize and actually make an apology. I watched his video. I got about halfway through it, and I was like, yeah, this guy doesn't really give a crap.
No, he doesn't care.
He doesn't really care. And and even if there are more examples, that's fine. He's not going to get hired anywhere else. And if it's just like a death sentence for whoever does it. Nobody wants to see this stuff. And, and it's not going to stop him from doing it again. Philip. Freaking God,
that's I forget who it was that said it, but they said plagiarism is it's a choice, and if someone's done it once, they've done it a bunch of times. You just haven't found it. So just kind of ridiculous. But you're good. It's a good point about IGN, right? IGN got all this flack and feedback, and it's like, come on, guys, IGN's a big company with a lot of people doing a lot of work there. They did the right thing. They pulled it down. They reviewed it. They fired the guy, and they're re-reviewing it. I mean, that's all you can ask of them. They're doing what they should have done.
The new review was up this morning. So
okay, by Brandon Tyrell, I think, who's actually a really good guy over at IGN. So let's back down on the hate. All right. And then let's move on and we had one rumor that I just wanted to quickly mention because we've been talking about it before, and that is it's been rumored for a while that there is a Elite Controller 2 or a revised Elite Controller coming from Microsoft at some point in time. We still haven't seen it, no official news. Tom Warren, who, speaking of guys I don't really have a great opinion of, but that's neither here nor there, but he is a kind of an insider with regard to Microsoft and Xbox, and he mentioned that he's headed to Gamescom next week, and we'll be looking at a new Xbox controller. Now, he didn't specifically say Elite version 2, but we really don't know what that means. What else could it really be, unless it's just some new special edition design? But I wouldn't think that would deserve a specific call out, saying I'm looking at a new controller. So hopefully we see it. I know we've been talking about it for a while. Bert just loves his Elite controller. He's had the same one for 3 years now. I'm lying, but mine works fine.
I've got 3 of them sitting over here.
Oh, okay. You and Bert are in the same camp then. Bert, how many of you have now?
Mine all work though. I have no problem with it. I just recently had a grip issue with my first one, kind of peeled off. But luckily, I think I saw a review somewhere of the Scuff Gaming grips. Can't remember what that was. I don't remember. Yeah, and I picked some of those up.
No, I saw a really good one recently. Was it Gaming with Seasons?
Yeah, it was something like that. I
can't remember the name of it.
Some weird dude, but I actually picked some of those up. They work great now. I actually picked up some of the red ones too because I have a red Elite that I kind of customized. And
oh, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I love that Elite controller. Yeah, I've seen the pictures of the supposed new one. I have no idea what to think of it. I just want to see it in the flesh. I hope that's what they're talking about for sure.
Yeah, I think the guy who did that review that was really good. I was actually surprised, being Mexican, how well he spoke English.
Wow. What's going on here?
Yeah, where do you go from there?
All right. Would you like to say anything on this topic?
I don't even know. I think the video you're talking about, the guy had a really weird angle on the camera. But now the one thing I will say is that this new Elite controller has been rumored for a very long time. I think we were even supposed to see it last E3, not this E3, and we still haven't seen anything. So I hope that there is something, because the Elite controllers do have their issues, as the jokes are going around. Very funny. I've had literally every single issue happen to my first Elite controller that is known to happen, from the bumpers breaking to the left joystick becoming kind of floaty on the inside to the grips breaking 2 3 times actually with reapplied glue. However, I do have a second one that I got for my birthday, and it has been fantastic. No issues with it at all. But you get that scuff stuff if you need a replacement. I've heard good things.
Got it.
All right.
Oh, man.
Talk about new releases. We're starting to ramp up with game releases. We've got a little break here, but once September hits, we know it's going to get crazy. So I know a lot of us are playing through backlog and trying to get through some of the games that have came out recently. So I'm going to run through these new releases real quick, guys, and then you can touch on what you're currently playing. So this week, We Happy Few released, a game I'm very excited for. Yeah, we saw it 2 years ago at E3, and they kind of redid the game and the story. And sadly, it's come out to less than stellar reviews. It's currently sitting at a 64 on OpenCritic. But a lot of the people that I've seen playing it, and I know, Dan, I'll look for your comments on this because I saw you playing it. But they're kind of saying that, it's got its faults, it's got its issues, but a lot of people have said this is going to be a future cult classic. Like, it's very unique, it's very kind of charming in a way, and it's got a lot of cool things about it. So we'll touch on that shortly. Madden 19, as the joke already came out, is out, sitting at an 81 rating, which I guess is pretty good. I have heard good things about the RPM mechanics, which is real player motion. They're using the same type of thing in NHL this year, which I wrote about this week as well. Dead Cells. So Dead Cells has been a very, very highly regarded title that came out. It's sitting at an 89 right now. It's being called one of the best 2D kind of Metroidvania games in years. And funny enough, I gave away a copy yesterday, but I haven't bought one for myself yet. So I'll be definitely picking that up soon and playing it. Overcooked 2, really fun party game. Overcooked became very, very popular for couch co-op. Part 2 is out, sitting in an 83. Big addition here is that you can throw ingredients to your teammates, and more complex levels and more kind of lively in the game. And then the Black Ops 4 beta is ongoing. So it's launched on PlayStation 4 last weekend. It's on Xbox and all platforms this weekend. And, Bert and I touched on our playing of that at E3 prior, but I know that's getting a lot of playtime as well. So those are the big releases. Let's start with Bert. What are you playing right now?
Yeah, so I'm on my trip right now for another week, and I did bring my PlayStation 4, so I'm cleaning out the backlog there. I did finish Ratchet and Clank remake,
Oh, man.
and that is a fantastic game. I played the original and the one on handheld, and then now I played this one. So I've played that game 3 times. It's fantastic. Currently almost done with Uncharted 2. That game really gets pretty good towards the middle and all the way through the end. And then I'm going to be trying Nier Automata for a 3rd time to get through my first playthrough and see if that does anything. But I did play the Black Ops 4 beta last week, and I may try it again this weekend just to see, if it's grown on me or not. But I think that game is really going to divide the Call of Duty community pretty big. So that's it for me.
What are you up to, Dan?
Well, I've been playing a lot of No Man's Sky, same as last week. I got it for the Xbox, even though I had it for the PS4. I just wanted to kind of see. Well, my son bought it for me, which was cool. And the graphics, as far as the comparison goes, they're pretty similar. There's not a huge difference, but it's a fun game. Kind of takes your mind off of stuff. You just kind of go in and do whatever the hell you want. I started We Happy Few yesterday, and Madden 19 yesterday. We Happy Few, I think, when I first started playing it, it's weird. It's a really weird game, and I can't understand most of what they say because they've got really heavy British accents. And
yes.
It's like, what in the hell did you just say? Oh, you're going over here to take a piss? Okay, that's fine, but why did you say it like that? Because I didn't understand a damn word you said. Other than that, I'm really enjoying it. I'm kind of liking it a little bit like BioShock, where it's got a kind of a different, just the atmosphere right now. I mean, it's not nearly as, yet at the point I'm at right now, on that level. But, we'll see. I'm having fun with it. Madden 19, I always get the newest Madden.
What do you think about you noticing any difference in the animations of the players?
Yeah,
how's it feel?
For sure. You know what? I've played some of it, and I'm used to playing a certain way. And it's the controls are different. I mean, they're the same, but it handles a lot different.
Yeah.
So you can't do a lot of the things that you did before. So there's a little bit of a learning curve, even though I've been playing it since, forever. So it's going to take a little bit of, more patience and a little bit of practice to kind of get the new RPM, real player movement, or whatever the hell they call it, down. I don't know. But yeah, it's great. It looks fantastic on the Xbox. A lot of fun with that one. And then when I went to Colorado, I brought my Switch and I played the hell out of Octopath Traveler. And that game, I mean, I don't even know what to say about it. I wouldn't think that like a little JRPG that, looks like it could have been made back in, the 90s could really kind of grab my attention like it has. It is so good. So good. I mean, like I said on Twitter, I said, it's almost God of War good. Not comparing the two games because they're completely two different games, but the amount of fun I'm having with it, I don't know if it's the nostalgia factor or what, but it is so much fun. Good story. The battle and the fighting, not necessarily animations, but just the way it works, the gameplay is just awesome. So much fun.
I need to put some more time into it for sure.
Yeah, it was that's basically was my trip to Colorado when I wasn't falling out of a raft. So
for me, I have been, and we've talked about this a couple of Bitcasts now, but I'm actually finishing up Kingdom Come Deliverance. I've done like everything I want to do in the game. I'm right at the very end. I'll probably finish it for good today until I eventually kind of go back once some of the DLCs are out and, some of the future content. Really love that game still. I think it's just great. So last week, played a lot of NHL 19, played a ton of it actually while the beta was live, and wrote my impressions like I've done annually the past couple of years. Those are up on the site. Really, really good NHL game. It has the potential to be the best NHL game ever, in my opinion. And the RPM mechanics we were just joking about in Madden or in NHL, and they've made a huge difference in the movement of the players, how you play, the checking. It's a ton of fun. Black Ops 4 beta, I have it downloaded. I haven't played it yet. Last time I played it was at E3, so I'll see if I jump in. I may play a few matches just to play it at home and get a feel for it, but I'm not really big on Black Ops, and I doubt I'm going to be playing that a lot later this fall, so I probably won't spend a lot of time on it.
Can I ask you some names? Is the beta, is it like the Battle Royale part, or is it just the multiplayer?
Just multiplayer. Yep. And they did add a new game mode for this weekend. I forget what it's called now. It's one of the new game modes they're adding for this year that wasn't live on the PS4 last weekend. So I may check that out just so I kind of get a feel for it, see what it's like. And then I'm going to start We Happy Few today. I've been looking forward to that one for a long time. I actually bought it in game preview like a year and a half ago, played through it initially on the, when it was just a experimental thing. So I'm looking forward to the campaign and checking that out. And I actually have the CE bundle for it. It's called a Time Capsule coming. I think it's getting delivered later this afternoon, which is like all the collectibles and stuff from the game. So depending on how much I like the game, I don't know if I'm keeping that yet. I kind of want to see. But if I do keep it, maybe that'll be a future unboxing video. We'll see. So, all right. So let's move on to our main topic today. And our main topic is actually, I think, going to be a fun one and an interesting one. And that is the games that we feel that every gamer should play in their lifetime. So this can be from any generation, really thinking about the games that have evolved or revolutionized or changed gaming over the years and the impact they can have on people. If you were, for instance, my younger son, 13, I've had him play multiple generations and games, specific games, but there's certain games I think he should play just to experience. Just like if you're a movie buff, right? There's certain movies that people are going to tell you should watch. Godfather, Citizen Kane, what have you. Gaming's really no different nowadays. Gaming's been around for 40 plus years, and there's certain titles that are just, seminal titles that we feel that every gamer should play. So what we're going to do is we've each picked 5, and we think the overlap here, so we'll just kind of talk through them quickly and give our reasons why we think these titles need to be played. So Dan, why don't you start us with one?
All right, one of them that I picked was GoldenEye for the N64. Is that right?
Yep.
Jeez, it's been so long. All right, so I actually never owned that console. My brother did, and we bought that game, I remember, and one other one, and that is literally all we played, just together. I know it wasn't the first-person shooter. That's probably what, Wolfenstein, back in the early 90s. This one came out 96, 97, something like that.
Yep.
And it was just that, couch co-op, or not co-op really, but couch, 1v1. What the hell was that?
Split screen multiplayer?
Oh, yeah, the split screen, but there was the proximity mines. That was all we did. We would get proximity mines, and like we'd go into like rooms that dead ended somewhere, and like we knew what was coming. We'd have like 5 or 6 of them on the inside of the door. That guy would run through and just watch them. That was more, for me. That kind of started me on like the real multiplayer aspect of games, because up to that point it was really, for me, it was always just single player stuff, and I had so much fun playing that, and everybody loves GoldenEye, and it kind of it started that wave. So
gotcha. Yeah, I think it's a definite classic, and it's one of those that I'll never forget. I still own it, still own the copy I've had since it came out. It's one of those things for me. That was right when we were going to college. Freshman year, I think, and we would sit at night half drunk, just sitting in the dorm room with around a 19-inch CRT TV and 4 of us playing, and we would just play for hours and hours and hours. So definitely one of those titles that'll be forever remembered. Bert, what do you got? Give us one.
Yeah, so I'll give you one, and I'm going to take a different route on it. And it's I've had a number of people in my life that have come through that weren't really big gamers ever, and when they became friends with me, you kind of have to just realize that I like games, and if you get into my hobbies and you'll try it out, and they want to try things out. So the game that I always suggest first for people to try out if they want to get into gaming is any side scroller, to kind of learn timing, learn how the levels work, learn level design in general. And the biggest one that is the perfect one for it is any Mario game. So my favorite Mario game that's a side scroller is Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. And that is great for teaching people kind of like the consequences of jumps and stuff like that. And then you move into Mario 64 and then Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. And then obviously where we are today with Mario Odyssey. So I think it's a really good test for people that gets them to kind of give their thumbs, as Dan talks about, to kind of like learn how it works. So that's been a good starter for people. Another one that if you want to kind of get into with it from a side scroller perspective is the Rayman series from a modern take. They're fantastic for that.
Yeah, funny enough, I told you we would have some overlap. So one of the ones I had on my list was Super Mario World. I know a lot of people would say the original Super Mario on the NES, or maybe even Super Mario 3, which some people argue is the best one. But for me, I think Super Mario World just took that polish to another level. The fact that it had the 16-bit, was on the Super Nintendo, had a few more controls, graphics are a little more colorful and stuff. I just think that's one of the greatest of all time. And anytime I think about the greatest 2D games, Super Mario World is one of the first ones that comes to mind.
Yep.
Yeah, Mario, even if you're not a gamer, it transcends gaming, because everybody knows Super Mario Brothers. So for sure that one, everybody should play that if they haven't already.
Yeah, I was having this conversation with my son yesterday in the car, and I said I remember distinctly one time, it might have been in the late 80s or so, where they said that Mario worldwide was more recognizable than the U.S. president, which is just kind of hilarious to think about,
Awesome. He's also more recognizable than Mickey Mouse, which was kind of a big deal. I didn't even know that until that came through.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. I wonder how they measure that stuff. That seems crazy.
World thing.
Yeah, for me, so we kind of went back in time. I'll bring us forward a little more. I'm going to throw BioShock up there, the first one. And the reason why is, it is a first-person kind of shooter, right? It's got a lot of violence in it, so it's maybe not for everyone. But the reason I think that a gamer should play it is simple, is that the narrative and the way the narrative is delivered. It was the first game for me, I think, I'm trying to think of anything prior, but the first game that really showed that you can have a story in a game that will take you through ups and downs and give you that shocking ending as good as a movie, or even better in times. And I think that it's just one of those games that everyone should experience from beginning to end because of how well it is designed and delivered to show you the experience that gaming can offer.
Nice.
No, yeah, it's one of my favorite games of all time. I mean, it's just so good in pretty much every sense. So, I mean, I'm right there with you. Everybody should play that damn game. We'll play it right now.
Stop listening and go play. All right, Dan, give us another one.
All right, I'm going to go with Pac-Man. Because
Nice.
Pac-Man. That one for me just like screams classic
Yes.
games. Everybody knows Pac-Man. Maybe not as good as Mario. But, you know, whatever the hell the damn, you know. We were at, I was telling you guys, we were at Colorado. Yeah, you like that? Sound effects. Free of charge. All right. So we were at Colorado. They had the original Miss Pac-Man, original Pac-Man game. And they actually had it's a new one. It's basically Pac-Man, but it's a 4-player Pac-Man where all 4 of you are playing at the same time. And you're, you know, eating the dots, eating each other, which is weird to say. The ghosts, all that stuff. I mean, it's Pac-Man, man. I mean, everybody likes Pac-Man. You know, that's at the arcade, you know, as from an arcade standpoint, that was the game. To me, I think that started it. So
yeah, it was definitely the biggest arcade title of that era, without a doubt. Miss Pac-Man, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
And it's right up there. I mean, we could go on forever, right? But you've got those classic arcade titles. Donkey Kong's another one.
Yeah. Galaga.
Centipede. There's just a certain, probably 10 titles that will be remembered for all time. Bert, what do you got?
Yeah, so my other one is another Nintendo franchise, and it's the Zelda franchise.
It's the Amiibo franchise.
That's right. Let me explain kind of the game that started the open world, I guess, idea of how it works. And then I think they did the open world third person over the shoulder the best from a home console perspective. And it's kind of evolved a lot. And so when you look at games today on different consoles, you know, everybody kind of jokes about and having a story along with it, having fetch quests. They did a great job with it. And I think, once again, it's a good place to start, learn mechanics. And then as you get to where we are in the modern era, people are a lot better at it, because I think if you just jump into gaming today, you've never done it before, gaming is really hard. So if you're a hardcore gamer and you're in the same room as someone that's playing games for the first time, it is extremely frustrating to watch people play. So this is one of the games that I think starts. It's charming. It's the same story over and over. Link always out to save Zelda from Ganon. So it's a classic.
For sure.
So just remind everyone who's listening that Bert is coming to us from Stockholm. So you broke up briefly there, Bert. So just want to make sure everyone, but we heard everything you said. It just kind of cut it in and out a little bit. So let me throw out, I'll go backwards again then. Let's go to Pong. I know that may sound hilarious, but Pong is really what kind of kicked off this whole digital video game phenomenon we find ourselves in and love talking about. And, you know, I was telling these guys that a couple years ago, I went to a video game convention and they had all these new games and everything. And me and my buddy went to the classic section and they had the original Pong home system. And we sat there on this little black and white TV and probably played for like 20, 30 minutes straight, just laughing our heads off, because believe it or not, there's a lot more to moving the paddle with this little joystick, the sensitivity of it, than you'd realize. And so, man, we had a blast playing that. And I think it's good to understand the history of how we got where we are today. And Pong, just like Dan said with Pac-Man, is one of those seminal, I keep saying seminal, but seminal titles that will be forever remembered because of what it kind of ignited for the future.
Yeah, Pong was great. What the hell did I play it on? The Atari, where they had the little...
Yeah.
The little... Whatever
I forget what they call it. I still have some laying around. The paddle, were they paddle joysticks?
Yeah, there was something like that. Little turny deal.
Yeah.
Great. That was like one of the first ones I ever played. Between that and Asteroids and Pitfall and all those awesome games that nobody will ever understand how cool they were when you see stuff like now. But that was a great game. Yeah, it really started everything. To me.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of kicked off that revolution, which led to the Atari 2600, which kind of blew everything up. So anyway, give us another one, Dan.
All right. Let's go with World of Warcraft. And back when it came out, I think it was like '04. I didn't know. I've never been a huge multiplayer guy. I mean, I liked, the idea of it, and but as far as competitive stuff goes, but when that came out, it really kind of changed the MMO RPG genre. I mean, there was EverQuest before that, and Ultima Online.
Ultima Online, yeah, I actually played that. Yeah,
yeah. There were several of them that I think Ultima was really the one that kind of launched everything else. Yeah, and I dabbled in those a little bit, but when WoW came out, it was just, man. I mean, it's one of the biggest games, if not the biggest MMO in the world, at least, and it's still going. 14 years later, people have tens of thousands of hours into their character. It's insane to me, but it's also, while huge and a little bit overwhelming, it's really, really fun, especially when you can, do some raids with your friends. I mean, if I'm trying to think of like a specific genre with these, as a gamer. I mean, a lot of people will make fun of it. It's like, oh, you play WoW? Oh, yeah, whatever. For the Alliance, for the Horde. It's really more than that. It's super in depth, almost to the point where you're, a little bit overwhelmed. But if you're a gamer, you should at least give it a try. Jump on there, join the Alliance, join the Horde. I mean, it's just fun, and you can run it on a old Apple computer if you really wanted to. It's not really graphically demanding or anything like that. It's great. A little too great sometimes.
I'm scared. Yeah, I'm scared to really get into it. But yeah, no, it's a great example, and I think that there was a comment a couple months ago about Grand Theft Auto 5 being the bringing in the most revenue for any digital product of all time. And that was actually corrected to say that it's World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft has made more money than anything else in history from a digital entertainment perspective. When you account for the monthly subscription fees, all the various expansions and copies they've sold over the years. So
doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it really is one of those things that's just a cultural phenomenon. I mean, people have gotten married through the game and met through it, and it's been around for 14 years, like you said. It's impressive. So, all right, Bert. So Bert dropped off a video, guys. So just to make sure we don't kind of have the same technical issues we had a couple weeks ago when we recorded, and he's obviously so far away, but he's still with us. Bert, what do you got for your next title?
Yeah, so my next one is more of a psychological experience for people, and it's Hellblade. So it initially launched on the PlayStation 4. Picked it up. It's only digital, unfortunately. I wish they made a physical version of it or even a special edition of it, but it is absolutely amazing. It's got the best sound of any game that I've ever played before. If you are playing in surround sound, whether headset or with the system, it's just amazing. The story's fantastic. It's extremely deep. And you really kind of see the struggle of someone's soul and someone having, some kind of a psychological issue. And it kind of stays with you afterwards. And I think I got that game and I played it straight through for 3 nights, just over and over. And I've even thought about playing it again on the Xbox One just to kind of see the differences. But it's an experience that I think very few games offer these days, and it's just done so well.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a really modern game, right? I mean, it only came out last year. I actually wrote the review for the site for it, and I agree with you wholeheartedly that it is incredibly unique. You have to play it with a headset or a good surround sound setup because it is staggering how well the sound design in that game is. And it's not just as I wrote, right? It's not just to listen to the game. It actually plays a key part in the game and the experience you're having. But it touching on mental health issues, and the consultants they had in the game around the mental health issues. I've heard people say that, their parents or their relatives have that same type of, conflict within them. And it's an important game for sure.
Yeah, it's multiple multiple personality disorders. I think it's, or what is it actually? I think that is it. Can't remember now as I talk about it, but it's done so well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I would assume it's multiple, whatever you just said, because I just went blank. Anyway, I played it. Amazing game. I mean, just for all the just for the story it tells. Like you guys said, the sound design on it was top notch. I'm really, really excited, not only, just to see what Ninja Theory can do now with, Microsoft's backing, because they made a hell of a game, no pun intended. And it was an experience more than just playing. So
Hell of a game, he says.
hell of a game. The hellblade of a game.
All right, Dan, what's your next one?
Oh, where was that? GTA 3. That game for the PS2, when I got it, I was done. Done. It was... I've never played a game like that. Looking back on it now, it's super dated. But at the time, it had story, giant open world, running around, smashing and doing whatever the hell you wanted to do. I mean, it was almost, I say it's limitless, but now, there are games that have, obviously, even with 4, Vice City was actually my favorite one out of the series. But GTA 3 kind of changed my outlook anyway on video games, and what they could actually reach as far as their potential. So much fun. And your guy never even talked the whole time. Say a word the entire time. But it was, that was you just causing the mayhem. See if you can get up to 5 stars, and then maybe not die. It was good. It's a good game.
Yeah, it was revolutionary, I think is the only word to use for it. It really was. It changed everything when it released. In fact, it brought video games back into the spotlight of the justice system as well, right? There's court cases around the violence and the ESRB ratings, and I mean it changed everything. I think you're right. Now it's dated, right? Obviously, if you're going to play Grand Theft Auto, go play Grand Theft Auto 5. But at the time, for sure. All right, I've got to put this one up. One of my favorite games of all time, and I think similar to what I said about BioShock, with just needing to understand how well video games can deliver narrative, is Last of Us. I think Last of Us. I honestly couldn't pick between Last of Us and BioShock, which I preferred from a narrative perspective, but I don't think I've ever been as attached to 2 characters in a video game as Joel and Ellie. I think the writing in it was definitely movie quality or better, high-end movie. It left an impression on me that will just last forever. I love the characters in Joel and Ellie. I'm super excited for the second one. I just, really hope they obviously do it justice. But I think it just showed again that the way story can be delivered through games and the impact that you can have as a player, which is unique to gaming because you have no impact on movies or books, I think is one of the aspects that makes me love video games so much. And I think Last of Us did that better than any game before it.
Yep, Last of Us is still probably my favorite game of all time. I've played it, 4 times maybe. And when 2 comes out, I'll probably play it multiple times again. So, just that good.
Yeah, I just recently played it, within the last 3 or 4 months, and even though it came out, a little while ago, it's still, I mean, as far as from a narrative storytelling standpoint, it was almost perfect. Like it didn't overstay its welcome. It was, concise, and it kept everything together. Because a lot of times, there wasn't like all these side quests and anything else. It was really, really focused, and it was really, really good. And I wish I had played it a lot earlier than I did. So,
oh, yeah, that was their first time playing it.
Yeah, it was the first time.
There seems to be a point in every episode, Dan, where I feel like I need to ask you to leave. I think we've hit that point.
I never had the PS3 because I had the 360. I picked up the PS4 not even that long ago. It was about a year ago now. So it was a lot of catching up.
I got
as much as I could.
Well, you played the better version of it. The remastered one on PS4 is really good, and it's even better if you have a Pro. In fact, I was pretty surprised when I replayed it last year and wrote my article on it. I was surprised at how beautiful it was. It really holds up.
It really does.
So, okay. Let me see. Where am I at here? So, I've got to throw this one out there. I talk about the game all the time, and that is Witcher 3. The reason, not just because of how much I love it, there's a couple reasons here. One is, going back to what Dan said about Grand Theft Auto 3 and how open world games have evolved over the past, what are we at now, 15, 20 years, really. I think Witcher 3, and I kind of had Red Dead Redemption in my mind as well, but I think Witcher 3 is the pinnacle of that. Maybe with Grand Theft Auto 5. Man, there's always more you can mention. But I think Witcher 3 demonstrated how well an open world can be designed. No matter where you travel in that game, there's something unique to see. There are unique missions and things that you can do. There's stories that just kind of create themselves as you kind of travel around the world. The writing and the cinematics in that game are almost untouched. It's just everything about that game is AAA through and through and through. It has the most awards, Game of the Year awards of any title of all time. And I think that's very well deserved. And I just can't wait to see what these guys do with Cyberpunk, because I think along with Red Dead Redemption 2, we've talked about it, it's going to blow us away. But I think if you're looking at just games that everyone should play and experience all the way through and everything they have to offer, I think Witcher 3 is one of those games, especially with the DLC. When you look at how good that was too. Probably, I think the DLC, the Blood and Wine expansion, is the highest rated title of all time on Steam, like even higher than Half-Life 2. So yeah, I just think everyone should play it. I'll stop rambling now. Sorry.
I'm with you. It's the first open world game to where your decisions matter and things that happen in your world change as your decisions are made. So I think a lot of the games that are open world kind of struggle with that. You'll finish a mission and then you'll go talk to Joe down the street and he's the same mission that you had before. But in Witcher, you talk to Jane and Joe now is upset you talk to Jane. So I mean, it's one of those things to where it's just amazing. Geralt is an amazing character, if not probably my top 3 characters of all time. So it's I'm with you 100% of the way. Which brings me to stealing one of your favorite games of all time. So, and this is more of a series, but it's Halo. So if you maybe don't know Ains at all, maybe you're just looking at his background right now, you might notice that he's a Halo fan.
Do I have anything on me? Oh, I guess I always have something Halo around, don't I?
You got your pops in the little corner there, and then you have like the Arbiter up in the top right. But so Halo on the original Xbox, I think, is the GoldenEye for the next generation that happened after GoldenEye. So it's the game that a lot of people played in college, a lot of people played in high school, wherever you were playing Halo. And it's also the game that launched multiplayer on the console world. So obviously multiplayer was around in PC world, but it launched it in the console world, and it changed console gaming going forward. It changed online services. It changed how people played games, not only online, but at home. So I think it's fantastic. The story is fantastic. Chief is a extremely likable character. He's kind of I guess you call him almost a damaged character as well, and you kind of sympathize with him throughout the entire game and all of the stories going forward. I actually liked the last Halo story. Some people hated it. I liked it. Halo 5 is still my favorite story for Chief, even though some would argue 2, 3, and even 1 are better, but I love just the character.
You say Halo 5 is your favorite Chief story?
Halo 4, sorry. Halo 4.
Okay. Whoa.
Yeah. Halo 4.
I was like, you're setting a new bar there. Okay.
Yeah, it's mainly because of the relationship between him and Cortana. But there's just so much in the Halo world. There's books, there's movies, there's short movies with short stories in an entire movie. It's so big. It's so much more than just a game now. So it's very special for me as well.
One thing, agree with everything you said, and one thing it also did on top of everything you said was it really brought competitive esports gaming to the console world too. With Halo 3, that's where Major League Gaming really launched off, and it's been big ever since. There was a little down period there, but I'm with you. Halo 4 is my favorite campaign as well. The Chief story, I don't know how they went from 4 to 5 and kind of screwed it up so badly. So hope Infinite corrects that. And don't forget that we have confirmation just this week. We didn't talk about it actually, but the Halo TV series is coming to Showtime in 2020. It's being produced now. Showtime has said that it is their biggest budget series. It's going to be like, Game of Thrones type series, but on Showtime, and that Chief is going to be a character in the show. So very, very exciting for fans like me.
Yeah, I played Halo.
So we're gonna have multiple points on the show this week where Dan's asked to leave.
Yeah.
No, all good. We can
No, I
move
loved
on.
it. It was, yeah. I mean, I played. You know what? I haven't played 4. I have not played the one that you guys think is. See, here's the thing. I don't listen. I played 1, 2, and 3, and then I don't know why I skipped 4. I think I played like the first mission. I was like, this sucks, and then I played 5 because it got enhanced, and I was like, I want to see what this looks like, and then I just kept playing it.
Well, to be fair,
really,
5 enhanced is gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
It's really gorgeous.
Yeah, that first scene where they're all jumping out of the whatever plane that they have.
I'm actually physically hurting right now. Not from the hangover, in case you couldn't tell, but the comments that are coming through. I'm hurting.
Man, I'm dying. No, I really enjoy that. I played. You know what I played a lot of is Halo Wars 2.
Oh, okay,
yeah, love that game. So I like Halo.
There you go. All right, let's. We're getting to the end here. Let's close this out. I know you got one more title you wanted to touch on, Dan.
Oh, Minecraft. That one. You know, for me, I don't play it. When it first came out, I played a lot of it on the PC. A lot of it with my kids, and that was more. You know, it's such. When it came out, I was like, "What the hell is this crap? This is the worst looking game I've ever seen in my life." And then I started playing, and I'm like, "Damn it! I need more redstone. Damn it! I need to go." You know, and then you start getting into it, and it's huge game. So many people play it. I don't even know where they're at this point, as far as, you know, I know they're supposed to be updating the graphics on it, but it's
the super duper graphics pack. It actually got delayed. I actually read something from the developer a couple weeks ago on that. So they found that the engine, because Minecraft, remember, it's built on an old Java engine originally, and it couldn't support what they were trying to do large scale. So they're actually recoding the entire thing.
Dear Lord.
From scratch. Yeah. So that's why it's taking so long. But when it does come out, I'm sure it'll be really impressive.
It's games like this, or like, you know, Fortnite or WoW.
Damn,
or like that.
We hadn't mentioned Fortnite all episode. You just did it.
I'm bad. But they're those cultural phenomenons that, you know, but, you know, like Fortnite, I would say you don't really have to play that, you know, as every gamer shouldn't have to play Fortnite, because you can get that experience a lot of different places, and you know, with some of these other ones you can too. But Minecraft, I mean, it's insane. I mean, it's just a fun game to play, just to kind of take your mind off of stuff. You know, it's almost like I don't know, like a survival game. You can do that mode. You know, me and my kids had a really good time playing it together. Yeah. I think that's why, you know, it kind of came up on my list, because, you know, for older, younger audiences, anybody can play it. It's not very hard.
No, I agree with you completely. I played it with my kids. They played it endlessly. I think we own like 8 copies of it on different platforms. It's also very creative for kids. My youngest son, we actually have the software where you can code and build your own things in Minecraft. So like he coded his own skins for his weapons and stuff. So it's really neat. It's a great learning tool, and it's really good for development in that regard too. It's also worth mentioning that it is officially the greatest selling game of all time. I think it's in the 150 million copy range now. So it's it's just one of those games that endures. All right, Bert, I know is not the biggest Minecraft fan, but Bert, why don't you bring us around here? I think I've covered my titles. I know you've got one more you wanted to touch on.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Minecraft fan, and it's just because I just don't get it. But, you know, to each their own. It's just that's my I don't get it game from this generation. But maybe that and Fortnite, funny enough. But, you know, whatever. But my last game that is just important to me is the Uncharted series. I think it's because it's the game that brings out kind of the Indiana Jones in gaming, because that's kind of what he's based on. Great stories, great comedic effect, just great fun experience that you can get out of a single player experience. And I think all of them are some of my favorite games of all time. It's actually why I'm playing them again. And even the latest one I like quite a bit. So if you haven't played games before, this one might be a good introduction, just because you get a little bit of everything from gaming in it. And some of them are challenging if you up the difficulty and kind of enjoy it that way. So that's it for me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Nathan Drake, fantastic character. As you said, he really got that Indiana Jones feel, and the games are well written. As you mentioned, I think on our last episode, which we never aired because the issues is that Uncharted 1 is rough, right? It's a little tough to get into nowadays, but once you get to 2 and 3, and the newer ones, they're just really, really well polished and fantastic games. So, well, that was fun, guys. I like talking through those titles. I We certainly didn't make a clean list here, did we? But we probably talked about some of the most important titles of all time. So that was good. All right, why don't we wrap up with some of our smaller sections we always love talking about? So, collectibles. I know, Bert, you wanted to talk about these real quick, but because of your location and everything, you can't really show it. So, did you just kind of want to mention where they can find the pictures of these?
Yeah, I'll show it, but I'll also show the picture here if you're watching on video. So obviously, if you're listening on audio, you won't know it. But there's some prints that I ordered, funny enough, back in January of Shadow of Colossus, and they are purchased on I Am 8-Bit. They're done by two different artists. One's Mark Engelbert, and I can't remember the other one, the other artist. But funny enough, I got one of them framed already. It is kind of a weird dimension frame, and it's the main character from Shadow Colossus riding a horse with all of the colossi, I guess you call them, in the background. And it's just extremely high quality. I'm glad it finally came through. There was actually an issue with the first run. They didn't print right, so everybody that ordered them had to wait again for the second run to get rebatched and finally sent out. But I got two of them. I got one that's that, and then the other one has the main character on top of probably the most well-known Colossus in the game. So they're just amazing. I definitely suggest going for them if you have the money. They're a little pricey. They're about $85 a pop, and then when you add shipping and everything, they come close to about $100. So get them if you can. If you can't, then just enjoy the art. Take a look at it, but they have to be in your hands to appreciate the detail and the vibrance of the color that comes out of each one of the prints. So I just love them to death.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm a big collector of prints, if you couldn't tell, and I'm not a big Shadow of the Colossus fan, but when you told me you were ordering them, I think they're really, really well done, and it's really famous artists that did the artwork as well, as you said. So really cool. Mine is a very, very serious collectible that I've been waiting years for. Finally got recently, and that is some cereal. More of a joke thing than anything, but here is Cuphead cereal, believe it or not. Cuphead and Mugman cereal from Funko. It has a little pop figure in it. I have not opened the box, and I probably don't plan to. Dan was much smarter than me and said, well, why the hell didn't you just buy 2 boxes so you could eat one and get the pop out of it and then keep one unopened? And I wish I would have thought of that when I was at the store. So I'll hopefully try and go back and get another box. But I thought this was just kind of cool from a collectible standpoint to see that they actually made this. And yeah, kind of hilarious.
Nice.
So we talked a lot about our classic games and games we think everyone should play. So did you each pick one out to kind of just reflect on personally this week? Dan, you want to tell us yours for season reflections?
It wasn't on my list. It was close though. It was Tetris, because, and this is more of a personal thing. When this first came out, I had it for the Game Boy, the original Game Boy, and when I say some of these games kind of transcend, the gaming industry, this is kind of one of those things. My mom and dad and myself and my brother would sit there and play this game on the Game Boy. And it's Tetris, man. There's not a whole lot to it. But my dad was so good at it, it blew my mind. Like, he would sit there and he's like, nope, I got this. Nope. And he'd sit there and play it and play it and play it. And that's kind of why, it's on my reflection. It brings back a lot of memories. Not only does it kind of transcend that, gaming area. I'm about to lose my speech here in a second. But it was just a really fun game. Brought back a lot of good memories. There was not a whole lot of games that we played, or my dad would actually play and sit down. He used to take us to the arcade, and he would actually sit down at like one of the sit-down Galaga or Miss Pac-Man arcades, and he would sit there and play, and with like a stack of tokens or quarters, and we knew exactly where he was, and we'd run back, get a couple of them, we'd run, play another game, come back, get another one. And this game was the one we could play at home, and we just hand it off to each other and then charge it inevitably and, come back and, okay, I'm going to beat your score. Okay, I'm going to beat your score. and that was one of my favorite games. Now this new one that's coming out, I have no idea what the hell that is. It's not Tetris.
I think the most famous version of Tetris is obviously the one on the Game Boy, and I don't think the Game Boy sells as well as it does without Tetris. It was another one of those games that just really took off. It was simple, but it was endlessly replayable. So yeah, I had it as well. I think many of us did, and a lot of fun.
You don't remember Super Mario Land on the Game Boy? That one was good.
Yeah, I remember Super Mario Land on the Game Boy. No, I don't. What are you talking about? I played Tetris on the Game Boy and Mario Golf. That's all I
played the hell out of Mario Land.
Mario Golf, not Land. What are you talking
about? Don't mind him, Bert. He still hasn't played Super Mario World, so we're not talking to him right now.
Yeah. Or Halo 4.
Oh, gosh. All right, moving on. Go ahead, Bert.
Yeah, so mine's a little different. It goes back to the Super Nintendo time, and mine would be Secret of Evermore. So not many people played this game compared to Secret of Mana, but it was technically the follow-up. It was more of a spiritual successor. I don't know what it was about the game. Maybe it was the world, maybe it was the characters, but I actually played it more than I did Secret of Mana, and I played the hell out of Secret of Mana. So I went back to it. Maybe it was the weapons or something, but you don't hear this one as much as you do Secret of Mana, but it is fantastic, and it's got cool box art as well. So it's showing right now on the video if you can see it. Other than that, check it out. Just go Super Nintendo Secret of Mana. It's really cool.
Yeah, I remember the game vividly. I can picture the box art for it, but I don't think I played it. If I do, I forget that I did. Funny enough, I'm going to the Super Nintendo as well, and I don't have the copy here because I have the original bundle with the Super Nintendo when it launched here in the US with Super Mario World. So we kind of already touched on it in our games that every gamer should play. Super Mario World, when I was a Sega kid, as I mentioned before, and I had the Genesis, and when I saw the Super Nintendo, I think I rented the system, believe it or not, before I owned it, and I rented it with Super Mario World from Blockbuster. And I remember playing it just all weekend, nonstop. And it just, again, it blew me away. It took all those mechanics that you loved about the 8-bit Marios, added more to it, more colorful graphics, and the game was loaded with secrets too. There were all of a sudden different paths you can run through and unlock in the world. It had that overworld, which was just, I loved it. So I think one of the most important games of all time, as we talked about.
Nice.
All right. Nice. All right, let's go ahead and close this episode out. Hopefully this one will actually get delivered to you and not canceled like our last one. A couple things I'm going to mention real quick, guys. My NHL impressions I already mentioned are up on the site. I kind of cover the whole EASHL like I always do, but the new world of Chell, they call it. Kind of a really weird name, but that is what it is. Those are up if you want to read those. I'm going to start We Happy Few today, and I plan on having my impressions of those up by next weekend. So I'll put some time into it this week, and then let you know what I think next week on that. If you didn't or weren't aware, our YouTube channel, we're promoting kind of more, getting more videos up, and Bert's most recent video is on the Dreamcast Pound adapter. So being able to use, kind of HDMI level graphics with the Dreamcast. So check that out if you haven't yet. And then you can't really see it because the mic, let me move my mic real quick, but I have played for Extra Life earlier this year. I think I talked about it. I played in the PUBG Extra Life event, and that's why they sent me the shirt, actually, because I raised over $500 for Extra Life. I really want to hit $1,000 for the year. So what I'm going to do is, and this is probably suicidal, but I'm going to stream myself playing Cuphead on Expert to finish the remaining bosses that I haven't beat on Expert to get the 1,000 out of 1,000 on the game. I have every achievement in the game except finishing off the remaining bosses on Expert. I think there's 28 bosses in the game, if I recall, and I finished maybe 8 of them on Expert so far. So it's going to be a long night, but that's what I plan on doing. So I'll put the dates and times up for that on the site. My 40th birthday is in a few weeks, so I'm going to kind of do it as a celebratory thing that weekend. So I think that's Labor Day weekend, actually. So stay tuned for that. Guys, anything you want to mention? Bert, anything?
Yeah, I got a couple things coming as well. So with F1 2018 coming around, there's a lot of comparisons that I want to kind of do, from a Gran Turismo to a Forza to a I guess, F1 comparison, because now there is F1 cars and Gran Turismo, so kind of sharing the differences between them and what you kind of get out of each one. That'll be a video and a article written as well, so if you're more of a reader, you should be able to see some of that on our site. And then, as you kind of have heard the last few Bitcasts, I've been playing a lot of remasters and remakes, writing an article on number one, what's the difference between a remake and a remaster, and then what are the top 5 best ones this generation to kind of check out, because this generation seems to have a lot of saturation with remakes and remasters from, gosh, I think every console maker at the current time. So kind of pointing out which ones we like the best. So those are right around the corner before the end of August for you to check out.
Nice.
Excellent. Dan, where can we find you?
Right here, and then on occasion on Xbox. Thank you.
Wow.
Perfect ending to the episode. So as always, guys, we're usually, if you want to talk with us on games, we're usually doing that on Twitter. Dan Rodriguez, Ainsley Bowden, Bert Sines.
Also on Twitter.
What did I say?
No, I'm on Twitter too.
No, that's what I was saying. You can find all of us on Twitter.
No, he's doing his awkward thing.
Oh my God.
Oh man.
Anyways, thanks for listening, everybody.
Yes, I think we're going to close it on that. So we will talk to you soon. Thanks for listening as always.
Oh man.